How's it going, everybody? I'm Dr. Jon Clayton, your Layton chiropractor here in Utah at Supra Chiropractic. So in today's video, I want to talk about one of the issues that I see that's going to be a big problem for our generation and the younger generations, especially the kids that are now just starting to grow up. And that problem is going to be the text neck, or the technology neck, and its problems following suit with that as well. So I just noticed this. I was at the store, and I hope that as you guys pay attention to this video, you will also see the same exact thing that I saw moving forward, and then help others to correct it. And so this problem is that these kids that we see are looking down at their cell phones. They basically are taking them and looking down like this, and they're walking around, they're sitting, they're doing this all day long, to the point where their head is moving so far down, and at the same time it's also coming more forward. And the problem with that is that over time, what's going to happen is that you start to shape the other parts of the spine. So in particular, we have our spine model here. So if we take our neck, the neck should actually have a curvature for the upper cervical spine right here. That cervical area for the neck should be curved back this way. They call it a lordotic curve, and then that moves into like the upper back shoulder area right about here. That creates a kyphosis curve, and then that's going to go down into the lumbar region, which then goes into another lordotic curve, and then the sacrum right here creates one more kyphotic curve, or kyphosis. So you've got two lordotic curves and then two kyphotic curves. And so with that, if you start creating a neck that's really far forward and down, what the problem is that you're going to basically be straightening out that spine. So it's going to start to go straight like this, and then eventually what happens, and we're starting to see this a lot on x-rays, is that we're actually creating a reverse curve, so an actual kyphosis then at the neck. So as a result of this, your head does not want to continue to be pointed down during your day, because then you can't see anything. So the problem with that then is that your head has to do this, which if you were to do that, basically look down and then try and correct out, but without moving your neck back to that position, as that you'll find a ton of strain through your traps and through your basically your back muscles towards the top as they meet up into your neck. And that's what we're going to start seeing a lot with these kids in this younger generation, is that their necks are starting to do this, and then they have to correct. And so it's going to really start putting a damper on their posture, their pain that they're in, and then as a result, they're going to get this big hunch that's coming off their back and shoulders. So it's going to look like, for lack of better terms, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, where he's really hunched forward like this, and then his head's down like this between his shoulders. Sadly enough to say, because we're not correcting the posture right now with a lot of these kids, that's going to be almost the end result. And so with that being said, the biggest thing that we can do to benefit that is keep their spine mobile, but honestly, teach them how to do correct postures when using technology. And so with that being said, when it comes to cell phones, we've already been told and shown this by other people on social media that we need the phones to not be down here by your belly button. They need to be up high, basically at your eye level when you're using them. So same thing when it comes to computers. So I'll show you guys my setup here. I'll kind of give you a snippet of what my computer looks like in my office. The biggest thing is I want to also show an example of what proper posturing is. So I actually moved my computer from the sitting position up to a standing position. So I'll include a picture of that we can post, kind of the side right here, and then you can kind of see what that looks like. But for the most part, we just need to start changing our postures, changing the things that we do day to day. Because I always tell my patients too, is when you come to see a chiropractor, you're seeing me for 15 minutes, right? Maybe 30 minutes for a specialty visit. But for the most part, I can't fix in 10 or 15 or 30 minutes what you're doing in 23 and a half hours of the day. It just isn't possible. And so I always tell my patients, if you want to basically fit the mold of Supra Chiropractic of come in when you need it for adjustments, is you have to follow the exercises and the posturing things that I give you as part of that fulfillment of that out of pain, come back when you need it kind of care philosophy. So the biggest thing we want to show you is a neck exercise that you can do to strengthen the deep neck flexors. What these deep neck flexors do is they pull your head back like this into a retracted position. And so I'll show you that exercise real quick. I'll kind of give you a snippet of that. And then that exercise is going to be kind of your number one starter for this. So for the laying down neck exercise, you want to be on a flat surface. So primarily the ground is a great option. You can do it in your beds, but typically the beds will kind of sink in. So find a flat surface. Typically the ground or the floor is your best option. So what you want to do is be in this position. The goal is we want to lift our head up 1 inch, which is not very much. Most people, when I tell them to do 1 inch off the table or the ground, they'll go like this. And so they lift up 3 or 4 inches because the neck is so used to being flexed forward in that, anterior head carriage or that poor posture position, that most people realize that 1 inch is not very much. So with this, the goal is we want to lift up 1 inch. So here, and hold. So with that position, the goal is for men, we want to reach 60 seconds without any shaking, fatigue, anything like that. And then for females, for women, the goal is 45 seconds. So obviously if you have kids, or younger people, that's going to change. That's going to be different. So the biggest thing is going to be holding that position. If it's so hard, I've had some patients where it's so hard where they lift up like this and they immediately start bobbing and shaking. So if that's the case and they can only hold for 5 or 10 seconds, do 5 or 10 seconds. That's perfect. So try to reach that goal eventually. 60 seconds for guys, 45 seconds for girls. For kids, 30 seconds. Let's just shoot for that. So honestly, super easy. Best part about it is it's free. Any exercise that people are like, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? That's great. But is it free? Because if you got to pay money to do it, are you really going to do it? It's going to be a waste of money. So do the free exercise first. 1 inch. Hold it. It's going to use those deep neck flexors. And it's going to force your neck and the muscles in it to start pulling the head back. And there's your exercise. So we just showed you the neck retraction. I call it like kind of the 1 inch hold version. So for the 1 inch hold posture position that we want to do that every day. Basically do that as often as you can. Have your kids do it. Make it a competition so that all of you do it, and it'll help the adults, it'll help the children, it'll help all the generations following as well to prevent these problems from happening, because technology isn't going anywhere, obviously, right? So we need to prevent it on our end and make it a thing that we do consistently. So now the next part of that is going to be chiropractic care. And the biggest thing is start your kids young. For me, as a chiropractor, I'm also a father. I adjust my kids right after they're born, and that's within 1 to 2 days. Sometimes I think for our first one it was within an hour that baby was adjusted. And so it's not unsafe to have your kids adjusted. You want to find a chiropractor who has adjusted lots of kids. For me, yes, it's a different style of adjusting. I haven't shown a lot of it on social media, but it's very gentle, it's very soft compared to how I adjust adults and my professional bodybuilders that I work on. So completely different style. A lot of it is super soft and gentle, so there's nothing to fear that way. I always let the parents sit in the room as well, and I walk them through exactly what I'm doing as far as chiropractic care for their children, no matter how old they are. And then I like to also show them things they can do at home as well. So we'll do that exercise, show them that, show that to your kids, have them watch this, and then have them come in and get adjusted. And then if you guys have any questions too, feel free to call my office. If you want to talk to me that way, feel free to talk to me that way. You can leave a comment down here. You can leave a message on Messenger to this business, Supra Chiropractic, or even to me personally, Jon Clayton, if you have any questions that way. And then if you need help finding a chiropractor around you, I'm learning a lot more chiropractors. But typically what you can do is just go on YouTube and say chiropractor in this state or this area, and then typically you'll see exactly what that chiropractor does and how they can help you or benefit you, and then go from there. But if you need help finding a chiropractor near you as well, feel free to message me as well, or leave a comment below where you live, and I can help you find a chiropractor if I'm not a close chiropractor to you, if you're not in Utah. So again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And then again, I'm Dr. Jon Clayton, your Layton chiropractor here at Supra Chiropractic, where we've got your back and everything else. Have a good one, guys.